Now we have to start the next topic, that is application of Gauss law. This is also very important topic because it is generally the questions are coming in the examination from this section of 4 to 5 marks. So there are four basic applications of the Gauss law. Uh, For some of the symmetrical charge distribution, it is possible to obtain the electric field in a simple way using the Gauss law. Okay, before this, I have told you that for the continuous charge distribution, we can find out the electric field by the complex integration process. But this Gauss law is providing us a very simple method for finding the value of electric field due to such continuous symmetrical charge distribution. So the first application is electric field due to the infinite long straight uniformly charged wire. In this we have taken, this is a infinite length of the wire having the length from plus infinity to minus infinity, and it is a wire having along its length having the continuous charges which are uniformly distributed over its length. Now we have to find the electric field at point P. So let point P on which we have to find the electric field E, and this point is at a distance r from the long straight conducting wire having linear charge density lambda. It means this point P is at a distance r from this center of the wire, and this complete charge is having the linear charge density, that is q charge per unit length. Now in step 1 we have considered a Gaussian surface, a imaginary Gaussian surface in the shape of cylinder with radius r, so that the point P lie on that surface. So this we have taken a imaginary cylinder as the Gaussian surface of length L. The length of the cylinder is L, and in this we have three surfaces. There are two flat surface, upper and bottom surface of the cylinder, and one curved surface of the cylinder. So there are three surfaces, one upper surface, another bottom surface, and one there is a curved surface of the cylinder. So there are three surfaces, and the electric field will be along this direction in the surface, and it will be along this direction in this side of the surface. So in surface 1 the unit area vector will be in upward direction, and the angle between electric field and unit area vector is 90 degree, that is theta 1 angle. In the same way, in surface 2nd, that is the curved surface, the angle between electric field and unit area vector, that is n2 cap, is 0 degree as the angle. And in the same way, the third surface, the unit area vector is in downward direction and electric field is in horizontal direction. The angle is 90 degree between them. So in the step 2nd, we will find out the total electric flux linked to this Gaussian surface, that is close integral E dot ds, close integral mod of E mod of ds into cos of theta, that is cos of angle between the area vector and electric field vector. Now there are three surfaces which are getting added to form this closed surface. So first is the curved surface, second is the flat surface, third is the flat surface. So surface number 2nd is a curved surface as shown in the figure. So the angle between this E and this n2 cap vector, that is theta 2, is 0 degree. So E dot ds into cos 0 degree angle. And in the flat surface the angle is 90 degree. in both the flat surfaces. So cos 90 is 0 and cos 0 is 1. So we got the result that E ds into cos 0 is 1. So E is coming out from the integration because it is a uniform field, and this ds is small area vector which is getting integrated over this complete curved surface. So what is the complete curved surface area of the cylinder? The curved surface area of the cylinder is 2 pi r L. Now we will put that value. Now the curved surface area of the cylinder, that is integration of small ds surface, that is the complete curved surface area, that is 2 pi r L. Then we will put this value in this equation, that is close integral E dot ds, that is E into open integral ds, E electric field into 2 pi r L. This is equation number 1. Now the third step we will be doing, that charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface is given by linear charge density, that is lambda, that is equals to charge enclosed per unit length. It means we have taken the length of the cylinder as L and the charge enclosed in this length of this cylinder. It means the charge enclosed in this Gaussian surface, that is the Q enclosed. Okay. Now Q enclosed is equals to lambda into L. This is equation number 2. Now step 4, apply the Gauss law. So Gauss law is total electric flux is equals to close integral E dot ds is equals to Q charge enclosed upon epsilon naught. Putting the values from the above equation 1 and 2, we will get the following result. Because this value of close integral, we are getting E into 2 pi RL, we are putting this value, and for charge enclosed Q, we are getting lambda into L, we are putting this value. So we are getting the magnitude of the electric field, that is lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught r. This is the value of electric field at point P due to infinite long uniform charge wire. So this is the value of the electric field at point P, and the electric field as it is shown by the graph with respect to this r position vector of that point, it means the electric field is inversely proportional with respect to distance of that point. It means as the distance of the point is getting increased from the wire, conducting wire, the electric field will be getting decreased. As the r is getting increased, the value of the electric field is getting decreased. This graph is showing. So this is the final derivation of this first application of Gauss law. Now the second application for the Gauss law is electric field due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Now we have considered this infinite long plane thin sheet, and the charge is distributed over the surface of this whole sheet. So this sigma is the surface charge density or the charge per unit area, cross sectional area. So this is the infinite length of the sheet is there, and the charge is completely distributed over its surface area. Now in step 1, consider a Gaussian surface in the shape of horizontal cylinder whose axis is normal to the sheet of charge. So in this we have taken this horizontal cylinder as the Gaussian closed surface, and which is a horizontal cylinder, and from this center at point O, from this sheet we have taken a point P at the end of the cylinder, and this distance OP is R. The point P is on flat surface S and extended equally on both sides. This point is equally extended on both sides. So here there will be three surfaces of the cylinder. There will be two flat surface and one curved surface. This first and second, these two are the flat surface. This third surface is curved surface. So I have shown you that the direction of electric field will be along this direction, and in this surface 1, and the direction of electric field will be along this direction in this surface 2, and in surface 3 the direction of electric field will be along this direction and along this direction. And with respect to area vector, they are forming 90-degree angle. So step number 2, the total electric flux linked through this Gaussian surface will be closed integral E dot ds, that is closed integral E into ds into cos of theta angle. So this closed integral will be getting splitted into the open integral into three parts, because there are the three surfaces of the cylinder, two flat surface and one curved surface. So curved surface number 3, the angle between the electric field and area vector is 90-degree as shown in the figure. So E dot ds into cos 90. In the same way, the flat surface 1, that is E into ds, that is cos 0. The angle between the electric field vector and area vector is 0-degree. And as well as the flat surface number 2, the angle between electric field and area vector is also 0-degree. So cos 90 is 0. So we are getting that E electric field is uniform, constant. It is taken outside the integration. This small ds integration is completely taken as S, because S is the cross sectional area of the cylinder. So this is E into S plus E into S. So we are getting this closed integral E dot ds, that is equals to 2 E into S. This is equation number 1 we are getting. So now the next step, number 3rd, the charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface is, now we have to find the charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface, that is surface charge density sigma, that is Q enclosed divided by S. S is the cross sectional area of the cylinder. This is the charge enclosed. This much cross sectional area, the charge is enclosed in this cylinder. So this surface area is S. So this is also S. So charge enclosed, that is Q enclosed, is sigma into S. This is equation number 2nd we have got. Now step 4, this is the step 4. Apply the Gauss law. That will be, the statement of Gauss law is total electric flux, that is closed integral E dot ds Q enclosed, charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. Putting the value from the above equation 1 and equation 2, we are getting 2E into S equals to sigma into S divided by epsilon naught. So the magnitude of electric field we are getting sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. This is the magnitude of electric field at a point P due to the infinite uniform charge sheet. And this is the electric field which is not dependent upon the distance of the point from the sheet. It means this electric field is a constant quantity. This electric field is independent of the R, that is the distance, normal distance from the sheet of charge. It means whatever point we are taking, the electric field will remain equals to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. This is the graph of electric field versus R. It means electric field is not changing with respect to distance of a point from the sheet. It will remain E naught, that is a constant quantity. So this is shown by this second application. Now we have to start the next topic, that is electric field due to the uniformly charged, hollow, conducting or non-conducting thin spherical shell or solid conducting spherical shell. Okay, it can be hollow conducting or non-conducting or solid conducting shell. This is the condition. Okay, now this spherical shell is a hollow shell. It is a conducting or non-conducting, it can be both, and so therefore the charges will be coming on the surface of it and there will be no charge inside the spherical shell. So the charges will be only present on the surface of this spherical shell. So sigma is the surface charge density of this thin spherical shell of radius capital R. And now in this we have to take two cases. One, we have to take the point outside the shell. Another, we have to take the point inside the shell. So case 1 is we have to find the electric field outside the shell. It means we have taken the point P outside the shell. Step 1 is take the Gaussian surface as the sphere of radius small r such that the point P lie on the surface small r is greater than r capital R outside the sphere of radius capital R. It means point P is outside this spherical shell, small r is greater than capital R. This is the Gaussian surface we have chosen. Now step second, in step second the total electric flux linked to this Gaussian surface is phi E total, that is close integral E dot ds, that is close integral mod of E mod of ds small area vector into cos of 0 degree, because the angle is 0 degree between electric field and the area vector. It is shown here. The angle between electric field and area vector n cap, that is theta, is 0 degree, and this ds is the area vector. So this angle theta is 0 degree, so cos of 0 is 1. So electric field, it is uniform, it is coming out of the integration, and the close integral of small ds area vector, that will be equal to the area of the Gaussian surface, that is of a sphere, that is 4 pi r square. So close integral E dot ds will be E into 4 pi r square. This is equation number 1. Now step third is we have to find the charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface. So surface charge density sigma, that will be charge enclosed upon area of the spherical shell. So the charge enclosed Q upon area of the spherical shell will be 4 pi capital R square. So charge enclosed, that will be equals to sigma into 4 pi capital R square. This is equation number 2. Now step 4, apply the Gauss law, that is phi E total electric flux, that is close integral E dot ds is equals to charge enclosed upon epsilon naught. Putting the value of above equation 1 and 2 in this equation, we will get E into 4 pi r square, that is equals to sigma into 4 pi capital R square upon epsilon naught. And the magnitude of the electric field, we are getting sigma by epsilon naught capital R square upon small r square. This is the magnitude of electric field outside the shell, and this electric field is inversely proportional to the square of the distance of the point from the center of the shell. So electric field is inversely proportional to r square. Now the second case, that was the first case And now the second case is electric field inside the shell. It means now we have taken the point P inside the shell, and this small r radius is less than capital R. So in this step 1, now we have taken a point P inside the shell. The Gaussian surface is again a sphere through P centered at O, and small r is less than capital R. So this is the Gaussian surface we have chosen. This small r is less than capital R. Now the step second is total electric flux linked through this Gaussian surface will be closed integral E dot ds, that will be E into ds into cos of 0 degree, because the angle is 0 degree. This will be E closed integral ds, and this closed integral ds will be 4 pi r square. That is the area of this Gaussian surface, that is 4 pi small r square. So this is equation number 1 we are getting. Now step third is, however, in this case the Gaussian surface does not enclose any charge in it. So this Gaussian surface does not have any charge enclosed. So Q charge enclosed will be 0, because the Gaussian surface is inside the spherical shell. Now in step 4 we will apply the Gauss law, that is phi E total electric flux equals to close integral E dot ds is equals to charge enclosed upon epsilon naught. Putting the value from equation 1 and 2, we are getting E electric field as 0. So electric field inside the shell is 0. Now there is a graph we can draw of electric field with respect to the r, that is the position vector of that point from the center of the shell. Now this is the graph showing the variation of electric field with respect to the radius of the Gaussian surface of that point. Now this from center to capital R, it means there are 3 reasons. One is small r less than capital R. It means inside the shell the electric field will be 0. At the surface of the shell the electric field will be maximum, that is at small r is equals to capital R, the electric field will be maximum. Then outside the shell, when the small r is greater than capital R, the electric field is getting decreased by the inverse square proportional, is inverse square of the distance. It means electric field is inversely proportional to r square, or electric field is directly proportional to 1 by r square. This is the graph for hollow shell of the electric field versus distance or the radius of the Gaussian surface. That's all. Now the next topic we have to start the electric field due to uniformly charged solid non-conducting or dielectric sphere of radius r. It means now we have this spherical shell which is solid, it is non-conducting, or we can say that it is dielectric sphere of radius capital R. It means this spherical shell contains the charge all over it distributed through the complete volume of this sphere. So we will choose rho as the volume charge density, that is charge per unit volume, because the charge is distributed completely inside this solid sphere. Now in this also we will take 2 cases. First we will take the case for the outside the sphere, when we will take the point outside the sphere. Second we will take the point inside the sphere. Now the case 1 is electric field outside the solid sphere, that is small r is greater than capital R. It means the point P is taken outside the sphere, so this small r is greater than capital R. The Gaussian surface is this, that is small r is greater than capital R. So step 1, take the Gaussian surface as a sphere of radius small r. such that the point P lie on the surface small r greater than capital R outside the sphere. Now step second is total electric flux linked through this Gaussian surface will be phi E total closed integral E dot ds, that is equals to the vector electric field is outward and the direction of the area vector is also outward, that is n cap. The theta angle between the electric field and unit area vector is 0 degree, so cos of 0 degree. Now E is the uniform field, so it is taken out of the integration closed integral of ds. We will get the area of this Gaussian surface. So this spherical Gaussian surface area is 4 pi r square. So this is the equation number 1 we are getting. Now step third, charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface is, now the charge enclosed through this Gaussian surface, it means this complete charge is enclosed in this Gaussian surface. So this will be taken out by taking volume charge density rho, that is q enclosed, charge enclosed upon volume of the sphere. So this is equals to q charge enclosed upon 4 by 3 pi r capital R cube. Charge enclosed q enclosed will be 4 by 3 pi capital R cube into rho. This is equation number second. Now in step 4, apply the Gauss law, that is total electric flux equals to closed integral E dot ds is equals to charge enclosed upon epsilon naught. Putting the value from the above equation 1 and equation 2, we are getting, put these values of these two. So we are getting E multiplied by 4 pi r square small r square is equals to 4 by 3 pi capital R cube into rho divided by epsilon naught. Now the electric field we are getting rho into capital R cube divided by 3 epsilon naught small r square. This is the magnitude of the electric field outside the solid non-conducting sphere. It means the electric field is directly proportional to 1 by r square for the small r greater than capital R, or this is the electric field outside the sphere. Now the case second is the electric field inside the solid sphere. It means we have taken the small r less than capital R. It means the Gaussian surface is inside the sphere of this non-conducting charged sphere. So the point P is taken inside the sphere. Step 1 is take the Gauss law as a sphere of radius small r such that point P lie on the surface inside the sphere of radius capital R. Then step second is total electric flux linked through this Gaussian surface is phi total closed integral E dot ds, that is equals to closed integral E into ds into cos 0, because the angle between electric field and unit area vector is 0 degree angle. So cos 0 is 1. So electric field is taken out of the integration. Closed integral ds will be 4 pi r square. So this is equation 1, that closed integral E dot ds is E into 4 pi r square. Now step third is charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface is volume charge density, that is rho, that is equals to charge enclosed q upon volume of the Gaussian surface. So in this we have to take only the volume of this Gaussian surface, not the complete volume of this spherical shell. So q charge enclosed upon volume of Gaussian surface will be 4 by 3 pi small r cube, because the Gaussian surface is having the radius of small r. So we will take small r cube. So the charge enclosed will be rho volume charge density into 4 by 3 pi r cube. because charge enclosed is the enclosed charge inside this Gaussian surface. Now step 4 is apply the Gauss law, that is total electric flux is equals to closed integral E dot ds is equals to charge enclosed upon epsilon naught. Now putting the value of the from the above equation number 1 and 2, we get E into 4 pi small r square is equals to rho into 4 by 3 pi small r cube upon epsilon naught. Now E, the value of electric field, will be coming rho into small r by 3 epsilon naught. So this is the magnitude of the electric field inside the solid non-conducting sphere, and this electric field is coming directly proportional to the distance small r from the center of the sphere. So this is for the inside condition case. Now we will draw the graph of electric field versus the distance from the center of the sphere, that is small r. So this graph is showing three reasons. One reason is small r is less than capital R, that is the radius of this spherical shell, and second reason is small r is equals to capital R, and third reason is small r is greater than capital R. For the inside the shell, the electric field is directly proportional to small r distance, and at the surface of the shell the electric field is maximum, and outside the solid spherical shell the electric field is inversely related to square of the distance r, or we can say that electric field is directly proportional to 1 by r square. That's all. Now this chapter 1 is over. This chapter is completely finished now. Now we will be solving some of the problems and the exercises, NCERT exercises question and answer. Okay, thank you.